Well, Donald Trump may have brought the Israel-Gaza war to an end, but now he's shaping up for a conflict of a different kind. The US president posting a scathing attack on China in the latest sign he's ready to launch a new trade war. Sky News Washington correspondent Annalise Nielsen joins us live now. Annalise, a very good morning from us here in Australia. What's prompted this angry statement from Donald Trump?
Well, look, Donald Trump's accusing China of putting export controls on their rare earth minerals. And this is something that's incredibly important for Australia. It's our biggest bargaining chip when we're dealing with the Americans, the fact that we have such a wide variety of rare earth minerals and better access than many of the rare earth minerals they have in the United States. But in this front, China is by far the leader. They have about 70% of the world's rare earth mineral resources. They have easier access to heavy metals, fewer environmental regulations, and very cheap labor. So about 90% of the rare earth minerals in the world come from China. So this is a sensitive topic. Donald Trump thinks that the Chinese have done this on purpose, his big week when he should be doing a victory lap for ending the war between Israel and Gaza. He says that the Chinese have snuck out this letter to other allies and he's not happy. So this is what he posted on Truth Social earlier today. He said some very strange things are happening in China. They are becoming very hostile and sending letters to countries throughout the world that they want to impose export controls on each and every element of production having to do with rare earths and virtually anything else they can think of, even if it's not manufactured in China. It was a lengthy post, but another part it continues. The letter they send is many pages long and details with great specificity each and every element that they want to withhold from other nations. Things that were routine are no longer routine at all. I have not spoken to President Xi because there was no reason to do so. This was a real surprise, not only to me, but to all the leaders of the free world. I was to meet President Xi in 2 weeks at APEC in South Korea, but now there seems to be no reason to do so. So that was supposed to be quite a momentous meeting. Of course, it hasn't been formally cancelled yet, but that's certainly Donald Trump throwing down the gauntlet there. This seems to be his big pivot now, going back to the economy, especially domestically. That is a major issue. But we did wake up to the news that he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. We'll have a comment from Vladimir Putin, of all people, on that in a moment. But the other major development when we're looking at the Ukraine-Russia conflict has been from the First Lady. She's revealed today in a rare statement on camera that she personally appealed to Vladimir Putin to seek the release of some former Ukrainian children that had been taken by the Russians and had become adults since they were taken.
My representative has been working directly with President Putin's team to ensure the safe reunification of children with their families between Russia and Ukraine. In fact, 8 children have been rejoined with their families during the past 24 hours.
And Alex, as I mentioned before, there was the anticipation that Donald Trump could potentially see the Nobel Peace Prize finally become his after settling and I think we should say implementing the first stage of the ceasefire between Israel and Gaza. I think it's still a few steps away before we can say that the whole thing's settled. But what we saw was that it hasn't gone to Donald Trump. People are saying it's politicized. The commentary from the Nobel Peace Prize Committee has suggested that it wasn't even because the decision was made just in the days before this formal phase 1 ceasefire deal was agreed to, but simply they don't think that Donald Trump's the kind of person that should win the prize, which, as you can imagine, has ignited a lot of controversy and conversation. One person who weighed in somewhat unexpectedly was the Russian president.
I don't know whether the current US president deserves a Nobel Prize, but he's truly doing a lot to resolve complex crises that last for years, even decades.
So, Alex, as you mentioned before, the focus in the next week will be Donald Trump travelling to Israel, where he's expected to address the Knesset before he then travels to Egypt. And the reporting is that he'll be bringing together a number of different countries at this ceasefire agreement as they look at implementing and overseeing this ceasefire agreement. And it will be quite a moment in history, the fact he's bringing world leaders together in Egypt at the moment that they're signing off on this deal.
Yeah, fascinating to see how things pan out over the coming days. Annalise Nielsen, live from Washington. Thanks, Annalise.